Okay. So I'm Alicia Walleen, but I go by Kylie, and I'm talking about the benefits and drawbacks to group work. The book lists some advantages as you'll have multiple resources. So you're not just bringing what you have, but you can also use like what your group members have. Also, synergy is a big advantage. It's like collaboration that provides more than the sum of its parts. So it's like more than just me doing it alone. And it also brings diversity, so others' input can make us better and more informed. Some drawbacks that the book discusses is that you might have to make sacrifices for the benefit of the group, so you might not get to do exactly what you want to do. You'll have to compromise with your group members. And also, social loafing is a big thing when some members contribute a lot more than the others, which we might know about. Also conflict, when two or more parties can't agree on what they want the project to look like. And coordination, everyone has different schedules and it gets really challenging to make sure everyone's available. Online, I found this man named Joseph Chris, who is part of Driving Business Connections. And he listed some pros as like, again, more ideas are being shared. It's not just what you think. You can have more opinions, and it increases efficiency. So if when you divide the work up, it's not it makes it go quicker because you don't have to do everything on your own. And one member's weakness might be another's strength. So if like we're making a poster and you're like really artistic but I'm not, then it kind of accounts for that. He listed some cons as free rider. There's free riders, kind of like social loafing, where some people don't do as much and just rely on the rest of us to do it all for them. And it can be really hard to get started with a lot of group members because some might be nervous to like put out their idea, thinking others might think that they know everything or something. And again, just like conflict between group members. And then I also found a book called Groups, and it's by a bunch of healthcare professionals. And they talk about how people can bring different things, such as prior knowledge and skills, attitudes, beliefs, and values, their own personality, previous experience with group work, and cultural and religious factors. And I think that like these could all be good or bad depending on how they're used. So it could like bring diversity and new ideas to a group, but it could also create conflict and make decision making hard. So that's all I have.
Right. So I'm Jan, and I'm going to be talking a little bit about groupthink. So first of all, what exactly is groupthink? And according to Psychology Today, this is when group values harmony over accurate analysis and critical evaluations. In most cases, it causes the individual group members to unquestionably follow the leader, and any disagreement with the consensus is very strongly discouraged. Psychologist researcher Irving Janis formulated 8 different situations in which groupthink can be seen. The first type, overestimations of the group, contains 2 situations. Illusions of invulnerability, which means that the group has excessive optimism and members are encouraged to take risks. The other is called unquestioned belief, and that regards like the morality of the group, which means like that group members ignore the consequences of their actions. The second type of groupthink is known as closed-mindedness, and there are also 2 situations found in this category. The first is rationalizing warnings, which basically means that groups rationalize any red flags that may challenge the group's assumptions. And the other is stereotyping those who are opposed to the group, making them seem like weak, biased, or stupid. And the final types of groupthink is known as pressures towards uniformity. So the first one is self-censorship of ideas, and they are ones that deviate from the group's consensus, which is the first situation listed under this category. There is direct pressure to conform placed on members of the group who question decisions and are also seen as being disloyal. And the final situation of groupthink is mind guards, which are self-appointed group members who shield the group from dissenting information. Now, it is important to recognize any warning signs that members of your group are suffering from groupthink. Janis determined that there are 3 factors that cause groupthink to occur. The first one is that the group may have high cohesiveness, which basically means that the group is afraid of de-individuation, so individual thoughts are not expressed. There also may be structural faults within the group, it lacking impartial leadership, or many of the group members coming from similar backgrounds and ideologies. And then a final main factor is situational context, meaning there may be highly stressful events occurring, like recent failures or moral dilemmas. And if you can recognize any one of these three conditions are occurring within your group, then one can realize that the likelihood of groupthink is occurring is very high. Now that the causes are established, it's very important to explain how to prevent groupthink from occurring so this negative way of collaborating in a group will not occur. So once again, psychologist Janice came up with the ways to prevent this. It was found that leaders should not express an opinion when assigning a task to a group, and also be absent during group meetings to avoid influencing the outcome. If independent groups are established, all working on the same problem, then there are checks and balances towards the solutions devised within the group. And all alternative solutions should be recognized and considered. Outside experts should be invited to meetings, and discussions and questions should be welcomed. Additionally, it's important to have a group member act as like the devil's advocate, so the responsibility shifting to a different member each meeting when they act as that. So now hopefully all of you know more about what groupthink is, what it is, what it looks like, and how to combat it. And then you can then overcome this groupthink in turn and create your group into one more productive and effective. So that's all I have to say about groupthink.
Awesome.